Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but our beautiful country and how we're going to fix this and save this thing for the next generation. Because that's what we do. We chart a course towards freedom. We're dispelling tyranny. We're defeating the proponents of said tyranny, and we're passing along that freedom. So if you are down with that mission, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, tell YouTube to shove it because they may or may not have thought you were a dead account. So make sure you are still active and you're getting this freedom prescription. All right, guys, listen, here's what we're going to talk about right now. It's the make or break week for Pam Bondi because the executive order that Trump put forward for the Second Amendment rights, which I'm going to show you, it's due within the next 7 days at some point. Now, I'm going to show you an interview that she just did on Mark Levin because it speaks to what we're talking about. Is Pam Bondi going to be a trusted advocate of the Second Amendment? Is she going to be a milquetoast, toothless tiger? Or is she going to be a proponent of things that we don't necessarily like? I don't know which three it's going to be. I'm going to lay out the positive, I'm going to lay out the neutral, and I'm going to lay out the negative, or potential negative. Everything that I'm about to show you is linked in the description box below. I always bring the receipts, but what we're about to hit on is so key because it's about trust and perception of competence. This is massive, and it shows up in the interview that I'm about to show you. All right, so as we get into this, guys, make sure that you check out the sponsor for this, Ammo Squared. It's a warehousing solution for your freedom seed needs, and it's also a way to prevent getting caught on the bad side of an ammo run. This is something you need to check out. You can do incremental distributions. You can do ship whenever you want. You can do all the things that would prevent you being in a bad position around those freedom seed needs. There's a link to the Instagram account right down there. Check it out. You've got all the information you can find out. But with that said, let's get right into this, guys, because this is the big point. Protecting Second Amendment Rights Executive Order. Now, this was put out on February 7th by Donald Trump. We covered it. There's a lot of really great stuff in this executive order. But this is where it comes in, the rubber hits the road moment, really, for Pam Bondi. Within 30 days of the date of this order, which comes out to be March 9th, the Attorney General shall examine all orders, regulations, guidance plans, international agreements, and other actions of executive departments and agencies to assess any ongoing infringements on the Second Amendment rights of our citizens and present a proposed plan of action to the President through the Domestic Policy Advisor to protect the Second Amendment rights of all Americans. And that is why this is such a key and pivotal time. Now, I'm about to show you, there she is. Holy cow, Pam. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States. Now, right now, she's on Mark Levin because the whole Epstein debacle thing that rolled out with the white binders and the creator influencers, it damaged the perception of trust. Now, I'm not telling you she's a bad person. I'm not telling you she's an incredible advocate of the 2A. What I'm telling you is this is the make or break moment. She's already fired the head chief counsel of the ATF who is leading all the Biden infringements. That's amazing. She's already taken part in putting Kash Patel in the FBI directorship. That's great. Now, guys, you have to understand, this is the moment right now. If she comes out and she does something very strong for the 2A space, go team. She cements herself as an advocate and we have a partner for the next 4 years. If she goes down the road of a milquetoast solution, we get a little waffly and a little uncomfortable, which is why I'm about to show you this interview. And then if she goes the other road of the red flag life, that's going to be a problem. This right here is really key and pivotal because this is about the Epstein debacle. Listen to this, and then we're going to add some color to this conversation because this is incredibly important going into this week.
About 120 pages of documents, and I started asking for these documents right when I came into office and before Kash Patel was in there. So I ended up getting about 120 pages. We carefully redacted them, of course, to be sure the 254 young girls, women who are victims of sex crimes and sex trafficking, their personal information was redacted and out of there to protect them. So I'm going through it and I kept saying, there has to be more, there has to be more. I'm assured that's it. Kash asked the same questions. Assured there's no more. I found out, this week that a source told me New York, SDNY, they're sitting on thousands of pages of documents regarding Epstein. Thousands. And of course, you've seen the very strong letter. We will get everything. We will have it in our possession. We will redact it, of course, to protect grand jury information and confidential witnesses. But the American people have a right to know. And Donald Trump.
Okay, here's the thing. First of all, I have to say, just because it's funny, she addressed the very strongly worded letter, and fine, I understand. I covered the letter. I tweeted I reposted the letter. But it's funny because a lot of the commenters in the YouTube space and in the X space all make fun of the fact that, oh, you sent a strongly worded letter. I thought that was funny. I'm not saying it's bad. It is a necessary requirement, but it was funny. All right, so now we go into the next piece here. And this is such a key point, guys. The reason this is so important with the Epstein files and the way the release came out, it's about trust in your competence. If you have an organization, which is in the FBI, the New York field office, let's just say they are completely rogue and they're going about and doing whatever they want, and they aren't listening to the highest officer of the land in the in the executive branch around law enforcement. Okay, that's a problem. So now, if you've now found out, and I'm getting all the benefit to Pam Bondi on this because she is new in the space. Okay, so if you've now found out that you have this big rogue element in your space, what are you going to do about it? That's the entire point, and that's why this interview is so key and important. Again, translating over to the Second Amendment space. Are you going to put forward orders that are 2A related, and are you going to hold people accountable and say the ATF that may or may not agree or may not do something about it? That's where this translates over. The reason that the Epstein files were so key was not because of the Epstein files that we already knew were out in the public. It's because the way that the FBI elements were reacting to their boss, which translates directly to the ATF and our Second Amendment fight when they put out new orders this week. That's why this is so key and important. All right, let's keep on going because this is, I'm telling you guys, this is make or break. Let's get it.
Is the most transparent president in our nation's history. So not only will America get the full Epstein files, they will get JFK, they will get Martin Luther King.
Well, that's fantastic, but I assume the Southern District of New York is or has been holding on to this information for a reason. That is, they don't like the names on the list.
Sure.
And, of course, we know New York is a hotbed of the Democrat Party, and that includes in legal circles. Do you think that's part of the issue here, that they're trying to protect a lot of names and individuals?
You know, Mark, I have not reviewed the information yet. And as a lawyer, as a prosecutor, I want to review everything before I make a firm conclusion. But I think it's very interesting that they withheld that from us. And I will find out who withheld it, and they will not be working for us anymore.
All right, this is a very key point. Again, this goes to perception. When you have an entire organization in the government that has been perceived to be stepping outside their bounds, and the big penalty is they get fired, you get responses like this on X right here. Me waiting for anyone to face justice. Anyone at all. That's the whole point. That's why this is such a make or break moment. If you haven't reviewed the files, fine. You haven't reviewed the files. You're a busy woman. I totally understand. I get it. But when you've got the 2A orders that are coming in and due this week, what are you going to do when rogue elements in the government decide not to enforce your orders or your recommendations? That's why this is so key. I'm not on the anti-Pam Bondi wagon. I'm on the I want freedom wagon. So if you're the person in this role, what are you going to do about this? You've already fired the head or the lead counsel for the ATF who was aggressing the Second Amendment space. That's a good step. I like that. I'm down, go team. But now you have a rogue element inside the FBI, or at least perceives to be inside the FBI. What's going to happen and how is this going to translate? I got to show you one more thing here because this is an important piece. So guys, where we are at right now, and if Pam Bondi is listening, it's some random opportunity that it happens, or it gets to someone in the admin or something, right? If you send this out on X, guys, you got to tag her, you got to tag Kash Patel, because the moment at which we are at and we've arrived is, what are you going to do in your recommendations? And more importantly, what are you going to do to hold people accountable when they ignore them, which has been the evidence of what has happened so far. That's the point. Let me know if I landed this plane. You know what? I hope you guys have the best Sunday ever, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. Later.